Kia ora whānau and welcome to Around the Grounds, a podcast from New Zealand Rugby bringing you closer to our national game. It is the professional game that we see on our screens, but the community game is the engine. Thousands of Kiwis each week that turn out for their clubs and provinces, whether it be playing, coaching, administration, and so many other roles that make grassroots rugby so special. Perhaps the most important job. The game doesn't happen without these champions is our referees. To talk about what it's like to be a community ref, welcome to the studio, Yvonne, Chaplin, and Rob Harman. How are you going, team?
Good, thanks, Rob.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, no worries. Look, what are you guys? Where are you based? Like, what do you do? Like, we've dragged you into the studio here up in Auckland at lunchtime, but you know, what takes up the majority of your time?
For me, I've got two little girls, mate. So that's home life pretty much covered, and my wife, of course. And I run a car parking business.
Oh, outstanding.
So,
mate, you could be a good man to know up here in Auckland. I'd say.
Yeah.
You got any vouchers or any credits? You know, like...
I think he's making some money out of me right now.
No, you'll know that parking is never discounted, so we can talk about that later on.
Mate, the game face, I like it. Straight into it, the game face. Yvonne, yourself?
So I actually live out Hobsonville Way.
Oh, awesome.
Originally from the UK, been living in New Zealand for just over a year now.
Honorary Kiwi though.
Yeah, I guess. Getting stuck into the community. So
awesome. Are you enjoying it?
Yes. Yeah.
Better summer we've put on for you this year, and so that's New Zealand's at its best when the sun's shining. So hopefully you are enjoying it.
Yeah, this year has definitely been better than last year. I
100%.
think we moved to Auckland maybe a week before the anniversary storms last year, so that was an interesting intro.
All right, okay, we can only get better from there.
Yes.
And I mean, when you turn on the rugby and watch a bit of Six Nations, like it's good footy, but it's a bit chillier over there. So
Yeah. Definitely, you're not slapping on the fat 50 when you get down to Twickers.
That's it. Good days though. Good days. Yeah. Look, you're both referees, both community referees. Like, how'd you get into that? Like, tell us a little bit about your refereeing journey and how you get to be every Saturday, or maybe not even just Saturdays, you know, blowing the whistle for community rugby.
I started out refereeing about a year ago.
Awesome.
And I saw an advert on social media for some sessions that Maggie Kogawara was running at Eden Park called Rugby 101 for people that wanted to, women specifically, women and girls that wanted to know more about rugby. And having been to Twickers and watched Bath and been to plenty of games, I never played, but I thought, well, you know, we're here. We've bought Blues season tickets. I maybe should understand a bit more about the game. And so I went along to the session, and at the end she did a little bit about refereeing and the community that came with it and everything that she's had the opportunity to do. She said, you know, maybe give it a go. And here I am a year later. I thought, well, why not? I might try that out, see how that goes, a bit of a challenge. And that's what got me into it.
That is outstanding. What about you, Rob?
I've been doing this a bit longer than Yvonne has. So I started in 2004. So this is my 21st season of refereeing.
Good man.
I was at school at the time, and some referees, particularly the younger ones, their rugby skills might not match their aspirations. I wasn't doing much in the winter time, and just picked up the phone or looked at the website and got in touch with the association. It was the end of the season at that point, but they said, "Oh look, still come along to our end of season barbecue and meet some people," which I did, and then next year I was into it.
That is so good, so good. And I mean, it's a good point you make, isn't it? Like, I'm involved in rugby down in Tauranga, and we've got at Tauranga Boys College, we've got about 4 or 5 guys who are players, young players, in sort of 5th, 6th and 7th form, or year 11, 12 and 13, but they're reffing as well. So they do a lot of the junior games, they do some stuff in the morning, and then they go and play in the afternoon. So it's open to anyone, isn't it? And what does it look like in terms of, because I think sometimes the expectation, for me as a player is that, you turn up on Saturday, play your game, and the referee's going to get everything right. But it's also a bit of a process as well, isn't it? Like in terms of, where to be, what the rules of the game are, how you get better, the different types of games that you do. I'm sure, reffing young people versus through to senior rugby, rep rugby, school rugby, all these different dynamics. There must be a bit of a process around, how you do that, and what does it look like in terms of support for a referee?
That's a big question. Look, aspirationally, referees don't want to get anything wrong either. So, but quite often in the community game, we do face those challenges from time to time. Look, for me, I referee Premier Rugby and First 15 Rugby in Auckland, awesome. And myself and the guys who are of a similar level to me, like we're probably putting in 10 to 12 hours easily a week to refereeing, either directly through training opportunities, going to the association meetings, learning, reviewing games, actually refereeing, and then also physical training as well, which obviously that is a byproduct of being good referees, being fit. So it's not like we turn up on Saturday and just run around and that's it for the following week. There's quite a lot to it, even at a community level. Exchange
a few notes, and I suppose too, more recently in the last 5-10 years, a lot of games are on TV, and that gives you an opportunity to watch your games back, perhaps talk to other referees that are doing a similar grade, and compare a few notes and sort of evaluate yourself, which is probably something that really helps you improve. And no doubt you're also feels like you're in a bit of a team yourself, albeit one that breaks up on match day and goes around the different grounds in the country, no doubt. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're lucky that we watch obviously plenty of rugby on the telly. We're lucky this year up in Auckland that Angus maybe and Ben O'Keefe now both reside in Auckland, so we get to use them, which is pretty awesome. But like we just like a team would, we have our games recorded, and we have selectors and assessors and referee coaches who come and watch us and look at our performance, and more so at the higher level, but certainly coaching throughout the grades. And we break down and clip our own games and peer review them and all that type of stuff. So it's very similar to what you'd expect to be in a team environment that we do as referees as well.
Mate, that's awesome to hear. And before I ask Yvonne about her reffing, one more question for you on that is around where do you, how do you prioritise the rules? Really knowing the ins and outs of the rule book versus feel, in terms of judging characters, personalities, the feel of the game, flow, etc., etc. Are those two go hand in hand, or is it literally just if you know the rule book inside out, the other stuff will flow? How does that work for someone like yourself on a Saturday?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So, all referees need to know the law book, right? And the law book's a pretty big book, and we won't get into that. That's for another time. But the best referees, and as you get more experienced, you understand how to apply that law and whether or not to do it at a particular moment, and then that's where the feel of the game comes in. So it's interesting. Like in community rugby, there's so many different people with different backgrounds. You've got myself, manage a car parking business. You've got police officers, teachers, firemen, firewomen. You've got people who work in call stores and out at the airport, and literally every profession, and those professions and the home lives of and other interests of people reflect in how they referee as well. Yeah. So it's not as if you're ever going to turn up on a Saturday and know exactly how the referee is going to manage a particular instance, because it's actually quite personal to them how they're going to do it. So, I don't know whether that's answered your question or not, but it's a very complex situation I guess.
Totally, mate. It absolutely does, and I think that's the good thing about rugby is that you need to be able to deal with all sorts of different types of personalities, whether it be refs, whether it be people with your own team. The makeup of your own team can be so different, but you've all got one common goal. I'm sure you do as a ref as well. You just want to do the best job you can, give everyone the best opportunity to play good footy. So I completely get that. I want to ask you, Yvonne, like a newer ref, and come from overseas to New Zealand, and what a fantastic way to get involved in rugby is just to get in there and mix it up. I love that attitude, but like. Same question, really. Like, what does that look like? You're a first-year referee. You're trying to get on the tools. You're trying to learn the game, and there is lots of rules, and it's a really important role the referee has. What does it look like for you? The support, how you're developing, what grades of footy are you doing?
So I'm sort of refereeing those under 14, under 15,
awesome.
School girls, schoolboy games, and even some younger stuff, bit of rip rugby and stuff, which is it's just brilliant fun. I mean, particularly the younger ones, because they're just having an amazing time. There's so much support, and that's something I really wanted to get across today is, particularly our association, the Auckland Rugby Referees Association, we have a special first year class. So when you come in as a first year referee, every Monday there's training. They go through all of the laws and how to referee those kind of situations and what to look for and, what little things might indicate that maybe, somebody's steering a scrum and how do you pick up on all of those little things. So we have all of that support. We've got like a great little WhatsApp group with us and our coaches and, people throw up stuff they've seen at the weekend on the footy and be like, they reffed it this way. How would you do it? And we talk each other through the good games and the bad games and this happened and I had no idea what to do. And, there is a lot of learning to do, particularly, for somebody like me that doesn't come from a playing background, I didn't know the laws. Yeah. So, I've been through and I study those every day. I've read through the law book and I'm memorizing all of that stuff. But it's, to your point about how you apply it and what Rob said, that's, I guess, the magic and the art around refereeing as opposed to just the science of, okay, well, the law says this, so that's the hard and fast. We don't do that that's why they're laws, right, rather than rules. So... Yeah,
I like that. That's a great way to put it, the laws rather than rules, and so that there is a little bit of play for you to apply them in a way that you feel is most appropriate, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's a learning journey I'm still on. And you talked about running lines, and that's definitely one of my work-ons for the next year. But we've got great coaches and support who will come out and watch you and, tell you what you're doing well and help you figure out most of the time for yourself what you could be improving on and support you in doing that.
Fantastic. Most importantly, what sort of watchers are you? If you're watching a World Cup game on the TV and, do you shout and scream? Do you have a crack at the ref from the sofa? Or are you, respect the official in whatever capacity, wherever you are at whatever time,
Oh, no, I'm a full rugby supporter, mate. Without question,
God's sake, ref.
Yeah. I think I'm more sympathetic now than I used to be.
I love it. Look, like community rugby players, like getting involved in rugby can be a commitment. There's some training to do. There's games on Saturdays and stuff, and hopefully invariably a lot of people do it as a family and you coach your kids, you play and all that good stuff. But there's always a bit of work-life balance there. Like, how do you guys manage that? Are you putting in 2 or 3 sessions during the week? Like, do you have meetings to get to as well as being there on a Saturday? Like, what does a sort of a normal week for you look like as you're preparing for a game on a Saturday? First to you, Rob.
I guess the week, the rugby week probably starts on Sunday night, I guess. So hopefully with the level that I referee at, hopefully we've got some video of our games. So you'd like to review that sort of Sunday night, Monday, and then we have quite a good relationship up here with the coaches of the teams as well. So we quite often get in touch with them and say, any feedback, yes or no. They might clip some things up and send it through to us as well. So we try and sort that out pretty rapidly.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? Like to have, I don't think that's something that maybe the normal person out there watching club rugby or whatever it may B sort of realises that relationship exists. And also, too, like a question, because I've heard sort of Ben O'Keefe talk about this at the international level, like once you come off the field, do you have a feel for how you went, or sometimes are you like, I'm not happy with how I ref today, but then you go back and watch the tape and go, hang on, no, that wasn't too bad, or do you sort of have a really good sense for how you've gone as you walk off the field? You do as a player sometimes, and perhaps maybe it's more obvious, but is it the same for a referee?
Yeah, I think you do. I think generally referees are pretty overly critical of their performance as well. To be honest, like you can. There's some really fine points in the game, and whether they're critical decisions or game influencing decisions or not, they're still in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
And you've got to live by the sword, right? So yes and no. Like, I mean, you can always go back and reflect and watch the video, and I'm sure, as you said, I'm sure Ben's done that plenty of times and thought, I was right or I was wrong, and I guess that's part of what we have to do, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's good having an environment and a relationship with other stakeholders in rugby that's not adversarial. So at least we I think everyone's trying to get to the same point. It's just we do different things to get there. So we go Monday night. We go to referee meetings up here. We do that every week during the season from March till August.
Yeah.
Then during the week, everyone's off doing their own thing, own physical activity or whatever they need. So for me, that's probably 2 or 3 sessions a week, whether it's going for a run or whatever I can.
How's the Bronco? Decent?
It's better, yeah. Yeah, there's always room for improvement on a Bronco.
Always.
But no, it's heading in the right direction, mate. Yeah.
There's nothing worse as a player when you're sort of trying to support someone and then the ref comes steaming past you. You're like, that's always a shot to the ego, So and there are a few more refs who are floating around these days who have got a bit of gas, and you actually look like you could go as well.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm too old. I'm too old for that sort of stuff to carry on now. But I tell you what, a lot of the guys, fitness is definitely a criteria for referees who are looking to grow through the game and look at becoming a professional or getting into the regional squads or whatever. So we do have to hit a target, even in Auckland for Premier Rugby. We need to hit a target in the Bronco. So so that's an important part of our season. 2 or 3 training sessions a week, and then into the game. Reach out to the ARs if you've or anyone else on later in the week, and then Saturday we're at the ground by 1 o'clock for a 2:45 kickoff, and then into the game and into it.
Yeah, happy days. Yvonne, for you, is it similar, or like obviously being in the junior ranks at the moment as you work your way through? What does your week look like?
Probably a lot less intense than Rob's. I have the Monday meetings. We normally find out our
I can come along on a Saturday with a camera if you want, and I'll record it for you and flick it back. And
So we don't often get video of games as standard, but we normally find our appointments out on maybe a Thursday or a Friday. We get to say when we're available, which is a big thing. It helps you to kind of plan around other things in your life. Find out where we're going. I try to be there sort of an hour or so before pre-talk with the teams. Similarly, I do my fitness during the week, review the laws, kind of think about.
Like a year as being a referee, are you mobile, hostile, agile? Have you had are you finding that as well as a nice byproduct of getting involved?
Yeah, it sort of requires a different type of fitness. So I can go for a steady 5k run. I cycle to work. It's like a 12k commute. So I have a good steady fitness. But reffing rugby is not like that. It's like a 100-yard sprint followed by 10 seconds of having to make decisions and take in all the information you're seeing, and then there's a lot of zigging and zagging. It's very mobile in that sense. So it is good for that. It's
and I think that's a good point you make, Rob. Like, not everyone necessarily wants to be aspirational and work their way through the ranks. Like some people just want to, be involved in the game, give back to the communities that, have probably maybe brought them through into rugby. But if you do want to, there is an opportunity to do all sorts of games these days, isn't there? Like there is a number of provincial games, there's rep fixtures, and then obviously, like you say, we're very lucky to have some New Zealanders involved at the international level as well. So it's quite aspirational if you want it to be, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I guess like rugby is for all shapes and sizes. It's the same for refereeing, right? So there's games of rugby pretty much every day. You can literally, like, we've got guys in our association who would do potentially do 5 or 6 games a week.
It's unreal,
because they just love it, right? They've got the secondary school girls on a Monday, and then they'll pick up a under 10s school game on a Wednesday lunchtime, and then they'll do 2 games of schoolboys on a Saturday morning, and then they'll come in AR on Saturday afternoon. It's incredible, like their dedication. But as long as you've got a fundamental like rugby awareness, and your law book, the fitness is, as the games get faster, of course you need to be fit, but the reality is that you don't have to start like being an athlete to begin rugby refereeing, that's for sure.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a great point you make. I know at my club's Puna, when my boys play under 12s, under 13s rugby, sometimes the referee will be their 3rd game of the day, which that's pretty awesome, isn't it, to have people giving that much time. They come out in the morning and they'll spend half a day at the club just doing the games up until senior rugby starts, which is pretty cool. Yvonne, I want to ask you a little bit around female referees, because growth in the game with our wahine from playing numbers is now starting to flow through to other areas of the game, isn't it? Starting to see a few more females being involved in coaching, a few more females being involved in refereeing. That must be quite cool for yourself, like just to start seeing, a few more girls involved. And like, while I've no doubt the refereeing community's close, it's probably quite nice as well to exchange a few notes with other females, because there really is, I've no doubt, how players react to males and females can be different, and you can compare notes and you can talk about how that all happens and be able to sort of go on that journey together a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. One of the biggest things I've got out of starting to referee is actually the people I've met and the friends I've made, the other women in particular.
The wine club's getting a bit bigger, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're quite a close-knit little group, the ladies in the kind of first year group, and we there's a lot more of us. I can't remember how much the numbers have grown by just in Auckland referees over the last year, and a lot of that is down to the efforts of Maggie and the rest of the team who've been out there pushing for it. But yeah, it is really nice. It's nice to meet other women who are interested in the sport and who go through the same experiences, but with a slightly different flavour of maybe how we pick up on things. And I think for a lot of us, either a lot of women come into rugby later. It's not quite or hasn't been in the past something that was introduced to girls quite young. So I think we come at it from a different background. Yeah. And so we can help each other with that differing view on and differing experience in rugby generally.
I've had, is it Tiana Nawati down in the Bay of Plenty? I think I've had her 3 times now, and I was saying to you before off camera, like, I probably sometimes can't hold my tongue in rugby. So, old habits die hard, but I, even though I called her sir a couple of times, once I sorted that out, I genuinely think I was better behaved for the female refs I had. I think I've had Estelle as well. Do you find that at all? I know you're doing young men at the moment, but I actually think it probably pulls me into line a little bit having a female ref and maybe some of the, dare I say, sorry, Rob, some of the male refs, because you get quite familiar with some guys, like you'll have them 5, 6, 7, 8 times a year, and you might even know them personally as well. And that could be a good and a bad thing. And sometimes, a few things slip out of the mouth and that's all sorted afterwards in the club rooms when you shake hands and have a beer and reflect on the game. But I think I've been on my best behaviour for Tiana and Estelle and some of the, your colleagues. Do you see that at all with young men?
I'm not sure, because obviously I can only come at it from my experience, which is being a female referee. But there's a lot of miss ref. Didn't you see that? And I think I still get a reasonable amount of stick on the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've yet to be called sir though. That's I'm waiting for that one.
Old habits,
just
and I
automatic kind of response.
Straight away, I was like, "What am I doing? I'm an idiot." But I've also turned the point I made with opportunities is like you're coming into your second year, 1 year in, but like it's pretty cool to see Farah Palmer Cup. Super Rugby Opeki. There's a lot of international games last year, and we're starting to see like Natasha Ganley. She's involved. Like, there's actually a bit of a pathway there as well, isn't there? There's becoming a huge amount of opportunities to not just ref, but referee, female fixtures. I know our club's got a senior female team this year. I know basically every year there's more all-girls teams in the grades, so that's quite cool as well to see that if you want to go that way, there'll be opportunity too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to refereeing some more women's matches. Definitely did that a bit during 7 season.
Yep.
And I do think there's a difference kind of culturally in the way the different gender teams play, which is interesting to see. And I'm loving the rise of women in refereeing of many sports, not just rugby.
Yeah.
But my social media is full of women taking that opportunity right up to Six Nations. A couple of women there refereeing. It's really good to see.
They hit hard though, the girls, don't they? Like, we've played a couple of girls. My boys have played a couple of girls, and holy hockanui, can they hit?
It's
like,
brutal.
They can hit, man. Like, they're there's no holding back.
No.
Which is very, very cool to see. Look, I want to talk about the good stuff, really. Like, is there some particular moments or memories, like, so far? Like, I could talk forever about the cool memories that I've had involved in club rugby as a player or as a coach. But for you as a referee, is there anything that sticks out as great memories over your time? And your time's decent, mate. Like, it's been a long career.
It has been a long career. Look, I mean, rugby refereeing's given me a lot of opportunities that I otherwise wouldn't have had, without doubt. So, and it's a instant friend finder when you go overseas and I've done Maui as an example.
Yes.
Turn up to the UK, not knowing too many people, straight into the referees association like you would if you're a player, and you go to the local club and say, here I am, and immediately you've got something in common with a whole bunch of people. So that's pretty cool. I've refereed around the world. And obviously in the UK when I was living there, I've refereed in the Netherlands and Turkey,
good.
Dubai. I was around the line for the Hong Kong Sevens a couple of years ago. It was pretty awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that was an amazing experience actually. In Australia and a number of places in New Zealand. And look, there's plenty of memories, and there's too many to speak about. The couple probably more recently, I refereed the first National Under 85 Cup final.
Oh, there it is.
So
at North Harbour Stadium, was it that one?
No, it was at Eden Park.
Oh, was it Eden Park?
Yeah,
oh, yes, the first one. Sorry, yes.
Between Eden and the Varsity Squids, two Auckland teams, and that was a cracking game of rugby. That was, and then the other one was my first 1A final 2 years ago, which was the game St Peters versus Kelston, which had the long final play that went for a couple of minutes, and then the drop over the line. Although some people don't think it was a drop, but I'll go on the record saying it was. But that was a absolutely magical game of rugby to be involved in that. But I could talk for hours about different games that I've been involved in, how good they've been, yeah.
So good, isn't it? Like school footies, it's still so raw. They just rip into it, they throw it around, but they're great little athletes. Like, it's cool stuff. And I assume, I'm sure with the experience you have now, that you could probably pull up to any senior club rugby game in an afternoon and know any number of people around the ground, like shake their hand, know them personally, and have a bit of yarn about the game, which must be quite cool, because someone like myself, I've never played rugby on Eden Park. You've been able to referee on it, and I've been in the stands in Hong Kong, and that was good fun. I promise you. But I certainly haven't been on the field participating in that way. So that's what refereeing's done, isn't it? Which is pretty cool.
100%, and especially when you referee men and women as boys and girls as kids, and you have them through school, and then all of a sudden they go through the grades, and guys like guys like Kurt Eklund and
totally.
Marcel and the Lay brothers and how they've, and there's many more examples of them, but they come to mind, and refereeing them first 15, refereeing them through a club, and then all of a sudden they're in playing Super Rugby, and catching up with them on the sideline of a Blues game or whatever, and they know who you are and say good day, and it's pretty cool. It's great relationships. It's
Outstanding. Yvonne, a year in.
Yeah.
Is there anything that sticks out? Have you sent a couple of whippersnappers to the bin or something? What's been the highlight so far for you now that you've done 1 year on the whistle?
Yeah. So I guess a couple of things on the field that have been interesting moments. I mean, my first game, and let's be honest, you're the only person out there. You've got to do,
There's no ARs as well, when you're doing 13s, 14s, 15s, and a lot of that school stuff and that, it's just you, isn't it?
It is just you, and you're making the decisions. And
some dad on the flag who's 30 metres behind the play and had forgot talking to someone else and completely forgot. Yep. Was that out? I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, where are we? What are we doing? But I remember getting to the end of that first match and just being like, oh my God, I did it. Everybody's alive. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but you know what?
Yeah.
Just the sense of elation of achieving that. Something
because anxious, going in, I don't think it's what people realise necessarily, because the refs are pretty good at having their poker faces, just getting out there and good to go. But like when you play your first 15 game or your first senior club rugby game or whatever it may be, hugely anxious. Yeah. And I imagine it's exactly the same for you.
Oh, very, very much so. Yeah. I mean, you want to referee well. You don't want to get things wrong. Yeah. You want to be fair to both teams. You want to make sure everybody goes home in the same state that they arrived in. It's all of those things that we're there to facilitate.
Yes.
And you just want to do a good job of that. And yes, you get the OREF and comments from the sidelines, but I remember in one of the sevens games, girls secondary school sevens, I caught the eye of one of the girls. We just a restart kick, and she looked to me and went, "You're doing a great job, ref." I was like, "Oh, thanks."
Totally.
It's really nice to get that feedback, particularly from players in the middle of a game, because a lot of the time everybody's quite, got a lot of passion and energy, and
100%.
So that was really nice.
I think every referee, I remember my first game vividly, even though it was 20 years ago. Right? I can remember the score. I remember the teams. I remember where it was. I remember that I stuffed up the last play of the game. It didn't matter to the end result, but I blew a penalty and then I blew full time. Without kicking the ball out. I remember I could walk you through. Right, I could go to Lloyd Elsmore number 5 today and show you the spot that it happened. And it's because it's a very it is like stepping out and refereeing your first game is very daunting.
Yeah.
And you're by yourself. You're literally by. I mean, you get people from the association. They will come and watch you and they'll be on the sideline, but they are not in the middle with you.
Yeah. But what I'm hearing as well is when you get it done and you get to the end, it's a great sense of achievement. You're stoked.
Yeah, and there are people around you who will sympathise with the things that you have not done well, and they will help you to work on stuff, and they will tell you what went great. And that community is the thing that kind of keeps me coming back. And I mean, the opportunities I've had, even though I've only been in the association for a year, I've run referee water, so I've been out on Eden Park. I've been out as part of the WXV final, Roses versus Ferns. Sat on the sideline, running water out into the middle of the pitch. Those are
totally.
amazing experiences that I never would have had I not clicked on that link on Facebook a year ago.
And it's like it's a cliche and it's said many times, but it is the best seat in the house. And I compare it to, I often ref my boys' games at under 10, under 12, etc. Starting to get a few refs now. But it's the best seat in the house. You pick up so many things you don't pick up standing on the sideline. It helps me as a coach, like 1,000%. It helps me as a coach. It helps me as a person because you become more aware, more sympathetic. You can perhaps see things that boys are doing that you didn't notice when you're on the sideline, so you appreciate what they're up to. But also, to the point you just made, I've been able to be on the sidelines for like Chiefs games and that. Holy heck, do they absolutely smash each other, don't you? Like, gives you a real appreciation for the skill and the size and the power of those people. Like, you cannot be in a better spot to appreciate sort of the nuances of the game, can you?
Sometimes there are downsides of that. I had the opportunity to assistant referee for Maggie at a pre-season Sevens game between the All Black Sevens and I think it was Tonga, it might have been Fiji.
Yeah.
I got taken out on the sidelines.
Oh, really?
There's fantastic footage of me being completely wiped
Cleaned
out
up.
as these two guys just did not stop before the sidelines.
Oh, my Lord.
There's nothing better than seeing a referee taken out. It's brilliant. Like, yeah, you got to laugh at yourself. They often, if we find footage of people doing stupid things, it's immediately shown to everyone else on a Monday night at our training session, and everyone has a laugh and gets on with it.
I think we all have a pretty good sense of humour about the stuff that happens.
I see Glenn Jackson a bit round home, and we still bring out when he got knocked over by one of the Chiefs props years ago. So, 100%. Look, for people out there who are maybe thinking about it, maybe on the fence, not too sure about how to go about it, about getting involved in refereeing in any capacity, what do they do? Where do they go? What does it look like?
Yeah, there's a lot of information about refereeing out on social media or on the web. So it's provincially
So you
based.
guys you are with Auckland Rugby referees.
Correct.
It's done provincially.
Yes.
Yep. So we're Auckland and North Harbour and Counties Manukau up here have different referees associations, and the same for everywhere throughout New Zealand. So I guess the best place to start looking would be either the PU's website or Google whether there's a separate referees association, which quite often there is. Like all associations have meetings and get-togethers throughout the season, and quite often in the off season as well. And most of them have all of them have a dedicated employee or some point of contact which people can get in touch with them on. And look, just my advice would just to be go and have a look. There's no obligation to referee if you don't want to, and there's no obligation if you think, oh yeah, this is actually something that's really good for me, but I'm not comfortable doing it for that I just want to hang around and learn and be around the group for the first season and then get stuck into it. Like there's absolutely no obligation as to you're not just going to be like thrown to the wolves. It's everyone wants to make sure that you have a as good a experience as possible, because ultimately everyone wants you to if you join the association to be a member for a long time and enjoy your rugby, and if you're not enjoying your rugby, then you won't continue to be a referee. So,
and I mean, just give it a go. That would be my advice. And we always need more referees.
Yeah,
and we don't mind what shape, size, colour you come in. Like, we are open to anybody that wants to give this a go, no matter what. And you'll find an amazing community of people that want to support you in that journey.
Yvonne and Rob, thank you so much for coming in. Good luck for the upcoming seasons. No doubt you've had a summer of just getting yourself fighting fit and ready. But I know club rugby and community rugby is not too far away now, probably a month or so. So good luck for your fixtures. Really look forward to seeing how you go. And thank you everyone for listening to Around the Grounds. A huge thank you to our rugby community that makes our national game so special. Cheers, team.